In this video, we will cover nuclear fusion in detail. We will see how nuclei can fuse together and what conditions are required for fusion to occur. Afterwards, we will see how the proton-proton fusion cycle provides energy inside stars. In nuclear fusion, two light nuclei are combined together to form a more massive nucleus. An example of a fusion reaction is between a hydrogen-2 nucleus, known as deuterium, and a hydrogen-3 nucleus, known as tritium, which is used to form a helium-4 nucleus and a free neutron. To fuse two nuclei together, they must come close enough together to within the effective range of the strong nuclear force. The nuclei must be able to overcome the electric repulsion forces between the protons, and this is a major obstruction to fusion reactions. This can be achieved when the nuclei have a sufficiently large kinetic energy, but such energies can only be achieved at extremely high temperatures larger than 10 to the power 7 Kelvin. Furthermore, very high densities of matter are required to maintain fusion. To see the importance of fusion, let's calculate the energy released from the fusion of deuterium and tritium. Given the rest masses of each of the nuclei, we can determine the total mass of reactants and the total mass of products as follows. The mass defect between the reactants and the products can then be calculated, and this leftover mass is equivalent to energy from the mass-energy equivalence. From the data booklet, 1 U of mass is equivalent to 931.5 MeVs of energy, so we find that 17.6 MeVs of energy is released from one fusion reaction of deuterium and tritium. By revisiting the binding energy per nucleon curve, this fusion reaction releases energy because the fused nucleus has a higher binding energy per nucleon than the lighter nuclei used to form it. Another way of thinking about this is that the energy released when the helium nucleus is formed is greater than the total energy required to pull the deuterium and tritium nuclei apart. Numerically, we can see this by determining the binding energies of each of the reactants and the products. The difference in binding energies is equivalent to the energy released, and this gives the same value to our left. Conversely to nuclear fission, nuclei located to the right of iron 56 will not release energy by fusion, because the lighter nuclei in this scenario will have a higher binding energy per nucleon compared to the heavier nuclei that would be formed. Instead, fusion of these heavier nuclei would require energy input. In the universe, when stars undergo a supernova, enough energy is released to create these heavy nuclei. In fact, any elements that we find on Earth that are heavier than iron were at one time formed this way. Let's now compare the energy released from this fusion reaction with the fission of uranium-235. Fission of uranium-235 releases energy when it splits into two smaller nuclei along with a few neutrons, and this particular reaction releases 173 MeVs of energy per reaction. As shown, the energy released from one fusion reaction will typically be less than the energy released from one fission reaction. However, the mass of reactants in a fusion reaction will usually be much less than the reactants used in a fission reaction. So instead, if we calculate the energy released per atomic mass unit of reactants, we find that this value is equal to 3.5 MeVs for fusion and 0.7 MeVs for fission. This means that if we used an equivalent mass of reactants, we find a considerably larger amount of energy is released from fusion reactions than fission reactions. Even though fusion has the potential to produce more energy than fission, achieving and maintaining the necessary conditions for fusion on Earth are extremely difficult. Instead, the conditions for fusion can be met in the cores of main sequence stars such as the Sun. In main sequence stars, the temperature and density of hydrogen is great enough for nuclear fusion to occur. Hydrogen nuclei will have enough kinetic energy to overcome the electric force between each other and fuse into helium in a three-step process known as the proton-proton cycle. It begins with two hydrogen nuclei, which are just protons, fusing to make a deuterium nucleus, where one of the protons converts into a neutron via beta-positive decay, and emits a positron with a neutrino. The deuterium then fuses with another proton to make a helium-3 nucleus, and a gamma-ray photon is emitted. In the final step, 2 helium-3 nuclei fuse together to make helium-4, and 2 protons are released. This process can be summarized as follows, and around 27 MeVs of energy are released per proton-proton cycle. As an aside, the CNO cycle is another fusion process that can occur in main sequence stars with masses much greater than the Sun. The CNO cycle is a 6-step process involving isotopes of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, but in effect, it still produces a helium-4 nucleus from 4 protons. We will now provide a final summary of the key understandings from this video. Nuclear fusion is the process of 2 light nuclei combining together to form a more massive nucleus. The nuclei must overcome the electric repulsion forces between the protons to fuse, and this requires sufficiently large energies that can only be achieved at extremely high temperatures and densities. We then saw that the proton-proton cycle fuses hydrogen into helium, and is the main fusion process that provides energy in the cores of main sequence stars. This now concludes our video on nuclear fusion. Thank you for watching.